And you are in luck because we are about to ride on a magic school bus where we go deeper inside and see those fascinating things as if we are flowing inside the body. Welcome to the Miggy Piggy Lab, everyone. Today, we're going to perform an autopsy. I'm Miggy with the Academy of Human Anatomy and Physiology, and we're going to use this Scrofa domesticus, or so-called piglet, which is a common breed of pig from the Philippines, to learn about its anatomical positions, directional, regional, body planes, and sections. So let's go! So first, I'll be wearing personal protective equipment, or PPE for short, to minimize exposure to hazards that may cause serious injuries during the dissection. Okay, to start off, I will be showing you on how to appropriately use these anatomical positions, directional, regional, body planes, and sections. So this is the dorsal and the ventral side of the body. So now, the piglet here is in the anatomical position or the standard position of the body, which means the body is in a supine position. This is her left side, and this is the right side of the body. Well, this is her superior side, and this is the inferior side. Alright, we will now proceed to locate the abdominal region and start marking these 9 regions. First, this is the right hypochondriac region, the epigastric region, the left hypochondriac region, the right lumbar region, the umbilical region, and the left lumbar region. The right iliac region, the hypogastric region, and last, the left iliac region. Okay, I remember that before examining specific organs, we must start with the thoracic cavity before going to the abdominal cavity. We will now proceed and cut along the longitudinal plane using a mid-sagittal section from the superior portion of the sternal region down to the inferior most of the abdominal region. Now that the body is open, you can see the overview of the thoracic, and the most visible organ is the heart and lungs, wherein lungs are deep to the ribcage and the heart is medial to the lungs, which is called the mediastinum. However, we will extract and examine the heart because I recall that my father mentioned to me that what if there is a massive clot somewhere inside the heart that may cause serious life-threatening problems and even death of this piglet. So to know, we will cut along the frontal plane and describe what can be seen inside the heart using this type of incision. First, the most visible are the 4 chambers of the heart, the left and the right atrium, and then the left and the right ventricle. Here you will see the aorta, the pulmonary veins, the pulmonary valve, the pulmonary artery. Next is the mitral valve, and here is the tricuspid valve. Then lastly, the superior vena cava and the inferior vena cava. Okay, we will now proceed to the abdominal cavity. As I have said a while ago, now I will be showing you the anterior view of the 9 regions showing the superficial organs. Please note that the organ placements I will mention are the organ placements of humans, not pigs. But it is worth mentioning that most of the organs found in the abdominal cavity of pigs are also in humans since they are both mammals. The 9 regions are right hypochondriac, epigastric, left hypochondriac, right lumbar, umbilical, left lumbar, right iliac, hypogastric, and left iliac. First, we will be starting in the right hypochondriac region. In this region, the organs that reside here are the liver, right kidney, gallbladder, transverse colon, ascending colon, and small intestine. A good example for the directional term is that the liver is superior to the gallbladder. Therefore, the gallbladder is inferior to the liver. Next is the epigastric region, consisting of the stomach, spleen, and pancreas. A good example here is the spleen is deep to the stomach. The organs found here in the left hypochondriac region are the liver's tip, stomach, tail of the pancreas, left kidney, spleen, transverse and descending colon, and some parts of the small intestine. A good example here is the spleen is posterior to the stomach. I'll now proceed to the left lumbar region, where the part of the descending colon is a portion of a small intestine too, and the tip of the left kidney are located. A good example of using a directional term is that the kidneys are inferior to the small intestine. Next is the umbilical region with the duodenum, small intestine, and the transverse colon. Following that is the right lumbar region. In this region, the organs that reside here are the ascending colon, small intestine, and the right kidney. A good example of a directional term in this region is that the small intestine is anterior to the kidneys. To continue, we will be talking about the right iliac region. In this region, it contains the organs appendix, cecum, ascending colon, and small intestine. A good example of the directional term superficial is that the small intestines are superficial to the kidneys. After that is the hypogastric region that has the small intestine, left and right ureters, and the reproductive organs such as the right and left ovaries and the fallopian tubes that can be found in females. A good examples for the directional term is the urethra is inferior to the bladder. Last but not the least, the left iliac region. In this region, the organs that you can find here are the descending colon and a small portion of the small intestine. A good example using directional term is the descending colon is anterior to the spleen. So what if there might be a rupture of an abscess from the intestine of the pig that caused an infection in the whole body? Let's find out. I remember that if there's any case like this, my attending advised me to cut along the transverse plane of the ascending colon to see the cross-section of the intestine. Then cut a longitudinal section to examine the stretch of its wall to locate the origin of the infection. And last is an oblique section to examine the extent or depth of the infection along the walls of the intestine. As you can see, an abscess is evident in this part. This tender mass had ruptured which eventually led into sepsis, and this would be the possible cause of the death of the piglet. To properly dispose of the used materials, I will be wrapping these organs using sheets of newspaper and put them inside this plastic garbage bag. Doubling the plastic bag will make it more secured. Next is the disposal of the gloves. This is the proper way of removing gloves after a dissection. Since there are visible droplets of blood on the dissecting equipments, I'll immediately soak it in a hot soapy water and rinse it right after to properly disinfect. Let it dry to prevent these pieces of equipment from rusting. The used scalpel blade should be stored in this container with care and to be disposed of in the sharps collection bin. Lastly, I'll disinfect the whole place, especially the table, and wash my hands to execute the proper way of hand sanitation. So that's it for this episode of Piggy Miggy Lab. Hoping you get to know more about the different organs of the pig's body and absorb new things from this video. I'll see you soon in my next episode.